Welcome back to Pack Mentality, and today I'm going to be talking about 3 supplements that every stressed person should consider taking. And just a reminder that this isn't medical advice. I'm just telling you about what works for me. I'm just be sharing the 3 supplements that really help me out, and you should always consult your personal physician first before moving on into any kind of supplement regimen, because you don't know if you have any underlying conditions that you don't know about, or if you're taking other prescription meds and how they interact with those. So you want to make sure that you always consult your physician first before starting any of these that I'm talking about. I'm just going to be talking about my experience, what works for me, and why it works for me, and some data behind some of the supplements here. So we're going to be talking about 3 main supplements. We're going to be talking about why recovery supplements matter more than ever, especially if you're under high stress and you're training hard, you're working out, and you're juggling a million things, and you're probably a parent listening to this as well. So this helps stress, anxiety, and recovery. When we talk about CBD, we're going to talk about magnesium glycinate and L-theanine and how I stack all 3 of these together. And this is also the kind of the prescriptive model that I use when I start working with my one-on-one clients, is that a lot of people think that they need to start on protein, creatine. That's a lot of the questions I get, but we don't really think about our sleep patterns and how we wind down before bed and how much we were focused on the recovery, because sleep is actually one of the most important things you have to get dialed in along with your nutrition first in order to start seeing better results at the gym. And I think sleep is kind of pushed away to the side a little bit too much. People worry more about training, nutrition, but then sleep is kind of ends up being third. And so this really helps me kind of wind down at night and helps me go to bed a decent hour as well. So again, hope this helps. But let's go into why this really matters in the first place. Is first off, like I said earlier, you work out hard, you probably have a high stress job or a demanding job, and then you also probably have kids, and you're expected to show up and stay sharp daily. And if you're not sleeping well or managing your stress well, then your performance is going to suffer. So it doesn't matter how good your programming is or your workouts are, you're not going to maximize it because you can't recover from the training. And also you're not going to show up better for others, or you're not going to show up better for your job. And so at the end of the day, the results start to suffer. So instead of throwing at the darts at the supplement shelf, we're going to start with 3 simple, effective, evidence-backed ones. So first off, before I get into the details of this, I started taking these 3 and stacking them personally because I wanted to get ready for Wodapalooza, and I wanted to make sure that I recovered properly. And I knew that the best way to do that was to get better and deeper sleep. And sleep is the most anabolic thing that you can be doing to recover from your training. And the differences that I feel on versus off them is actually pretty significant, because I took a break after Wodapalooza. I took 4 weeks specifically off because I just wanted to reset my receptors and just make myself sensitive to it again. But I didn't realize how much I needed them, not necessarily to sleep, but I was just in a better overall mood, and I had less anxiety. I felt less stressed, and I just showed up better for people at the gym, my members, my clients. And I also showed up better for my family. And a lot of that isn't because I was taking protein, creatine, but a lot of it boils down to these top 3 supplements, because I'm just like any other busy adult. I get just as stressed out as you. So, and honestly, like a lot of us, if you're listening to this right now, we're probably all chronically under recovered and we don't even know it. And you just feel like crap, or you kind of feel snappy. And this is really going to help with that. So let's get to number 1, which is CBD. So I like to use a full spectrum CBD, and I'll go into that at the end of this. But basically, 80% of CBD users in studies do report better anxiety management, and 65% reported better sleep. And I fall into this category, so I take it about 8 o'clock at night, because it does take some time for it to kind of wind up. And this has really helped my sleep a lot and helped me kind of chill out and have a little wind down before I go to bed. And it makes me go to bed at a much earlier hour, especially if I take all 3 of these at around 8 p.m. It's been shown to increase sleep scores, lower cortisol, and reduce sleep latency in some users. Again, a lot of this stuff is circumstantial. There's not a whole lot of hard data on this, but from my personal use, I definitely fall into this. And there was a time where I kind of felt burned out or overwhelmed that I took CBD, and I did notice a shift. I was doing a lot of training leading up for Wodapalooza SoCal. So I would get kind of amped up at night because I was doing 2 training sessions a day. Sometimes my second training session wouldn't be over until later. And so that would usually, when I train later in the day, it makes me kind of more amped up, and I got the endorphins going. It's hard for me to wind down. So I would take that around 8, and that would help me wind down. I'd get to bed at a decent hour. And the biggest myth that I hear about CBD is that it's kind of like weed. It really isn't, even though a full spectrum, the one that I use is called Lazarus Naturals, and it's a full spectrum CBD. So there are some cannabinoids in it. So it ends up being about less than 0.3, which is the legal limit. of THC in it. So if you do get drug tested and if you're hypersensitive to this stuff, definitely you might want to find a different brand, but I'm just telling you what I use. Again, I'm not sponsored by this. I don't have a discount code or anything. This is just what I use personally. And how does this compare to melatonin, alcohol, or weed for winding down? Well, first off, melatonin, the problem is if you take too much of it, it's essentially a hormone, and then you're going to be dependent on that in order to fall asleep, because it's the hormone that is released in your brain to pretty much tell you that it's time to go to bed. And if you use a synthetic version of that, you kind of blunt that process, so you can't do it naturally anymore. Alcohol, we know for obvious reasons, impair recovery, lowers testosterone, impacts the cardiovascular system negatively. A whole multitude of things that you should be avoiding or that you don't want from alcohol. Definitely want to avoid that at 100% all costs. And then weed, not against it. But then again, you can kind of get dependent on it. And I've been dependent on doing like a 5 milligram or a 10 milligram gummy before bed, edible. And so I've been known to do that, and definitely helps me fall asleep for sure. But I do notice that my REM sleep isn't as good when I do that. And my REM sleep is a lot better when I do CBD only. So that's what I kind of stick with. So it helps with it. Essentially does. It helps calm your nervous system, quiet the mental noise, and actually help you fall asleep. And you can even take CBD, like lower doses during the day. And I took like a half a dose today, in the morning. And that really helped me throughout the day. So I don't get super drowsy from it, unless I take a lot. And then also it just helps me I'm a much more stable mood when I take it. I didn't realize how much I liked it until I just had to order some, and I got it, and then I instantly felt better, which is crazy because usually it takes like 3 to 5 days to kind of wind up to feel better. And if you added CBD consistently for a week, you will definitely feel better, like less stress, less anxiety. I definitely put this at the first topic because I think this is one of the more higher impact ones. And it's not super expensive either. So what I take is about 25 to 50 milligrams, 60 to 90 minutes before bed, and I use a tincture. So you can either put that in a drink, or I just squirt it in my mouth and then chase it with something. You always want to use a CBD tincture or a soft gel that is third-party tested. So you want to make sure that that is free of like metals, other chemicals, or anything. Just want to make sure it's pure. And I personally dose it, like I said, around 8 p.m. And if I miss it, it's not a big deal. I don't even really notice it because I've been using it. But it's definitely something that has made a bigger impact than I thought it would. And I do stack it with L-theanine and magnesium glycinate, which I'm going to get into next. And then the CBD I use, again, if you want to look it up, it's called Lazarus Naturals. They do publish a batch of certificates of analysis and a third-party lab testing for potency, residual solvents, heavy metals, etc. And you want to make sure that is squared away. And a full spectrum CBD extract, and this is from their website. I'm just going to read it because there's some big words in here that I can't pronounce, but bear with me. So it says right here, a full spectrum CBD extract preserves all naturally occurring phytocannabinoids and flavonoids and terpenes found in hemp. Now, if I butchered that, I'm sorry, but I'm doing my best here. Okay. English is my second language. However, full spectrum products do not contain THC, but only the federal legal amount under 0.3%. Okay. So there you go. Whatever that means, I'm cool with it. So at the end, oh man. Oh, too much talking. I need some water. But anyways, imagine not coaching, but that's me. But imagine doing a long day at work. Your mind is racing. You have to do your workout. You have to take care of your kids, and being able to drop into a deep sleep, like flipping a switch. That's what CBD can help with, and that's helped me a ton. So I really hope it helps you. And if you're laying in bed and you can't turn it off, then you're just burning recovery time. So I'd rather have that on hand and have it ready, even if you don't want to use it. It's always nice to have on hand because I don't think it goes bad, or at least for a long time. And you take that, and then that will definitely help you at least chill out a little bit at night. And if you're not recovering, you're not making adaptations, and then your progress is stalling. Let's move right into number 2. So I got my favorite one out of the way, which is CBD. Magnesium glycinate, definitely my second favorite one. One of the cheapest supplements you can get. I'll go why into specifically why you want glycinate towards the end of this segment, but magnesium glycinate, hands down, one of my favorite supplements of all time and one of the cheapest ones of all time. And 68% of Americans are deficient in magnesium. So it's something you're going to want to take regardless, but you don't want to take it during the day because this does make me lull to sleep a little bit more than CBD does. and it helps with muscle relaxation, nerve function, and sleep quality. The glycinate form is the best tolerated, and it supports calm. It digests better. It's better for the gut, so you don't get into like some weird cramps, or doesn't make you it's just easier on the stomach in general. Let's just say that. And my sleep does look a lot worse when I don't take magnesium. And the reason being, I just don't hit that really deep sleep. So I do get some decent REM sleep without it, but I rarely hit some really deep sleep early on in my sleep cycles when I do take magnesium glycinate. And if you're wondering how I track my sleep, I have a Garmin. Now, again, Garmin tracking isn't super accurate, or there's really no super accurate sleep trackers out there, but I'm going to do with what I got. But I do notice that my deep sleep is very good right when I fall asleep when I do take magnesium glycinate, and it's not as good when I miss that day. And I have had clients, I've recommended this to clients, and they've used it, and once they start it, they can't get off of it. Actually, is that they take the magnesium and they're like, oh my God, like I can actually wind down and I go to sleep. And I'm like, yeah, were you having a problem going to bed, before midnight? And they're like, yeah, absolutely. But they're like, I take the magnesium, like you said, like 8 or 9. And then I'm, barely keeping my eyes up on the couch 30, 40 minutes later, and I just go to bed. And I'm like, isn't that great? And they're like, yeah, it's great. I'm actually sleeping. And I'm getting more hours before midnight, and which is extremely important. And then what's going to happen is you're going to feel less sore, you're going to sleep deeper, and you're going to stop waking up stiff or groggy. You might be a little bit groggy. I have gotten groggy from specifically magnesium. I'm not sure if it was just because I'm just tired from the workouts or if it was the magnesium specifically, but I do tend to wake up and I'm just like, oh my goodness, it is hard for me to open my eyes, which I guess is a good thing because that means I was actually sleeping through the night. And what you can kind of expect once you use this for 5 to 7 days, and I would even see you would say that you would actually even see an immediate effect from this, is that you're just going to fall asleep a lot faster and deeper. Like once you're in a dark room, it's nice and cool, we're rocking. And so I'd take about, I always start off a little bit lower than what you think. So I would probably, if I were you, I would start off at 300 to 400 milligrams, 30 to 60 minutes before bed. I take 500 milligrams. I don't really go over that. You can take more than that if you're super high stress, but 500 is a sweet spot for me. And then you want to take this with water, and you do want to avoid the citrate version at night because that can actually upset the stomach. At least is what's been reported. I've never really tried citrate, so I can't really speak on that. So I just only use glycinate because that was recommended to me, and then that's what I'm recommending to you. And then do I cycle it? I use it daily. I do cycle it here and there. It's mainly just because I forget to order it. So I go a few days without it, then I order it. I just get it off Amazon. And what brand is the best? It doesn't really matter because they're all around the same price anyways. I just get mine off Amazon. Just go on Amazon Prime and just search magnesium glycinate. Just choose one of those. They tend to work, and usually want to get around a 300 to 500 milligram version. Anything, I don't even think they make higher versions of that, but you want to be dosing right around there. Just the only thing you really need to be aware of is underdose versions, because there's some that I'm sure are around 200 milligrams. If you only take one of those, you might not get the full effect. So that's just something to think about. And what happens is that when you hit like a really heavy workout and you hydrate, you take magnesium instead of tossing and turning with sore legs, that you actually sleep through the night and you wake up ready to go. And that's something I forgot to mention earlier, was that before I started taking magnesium, I've been taking magnesium for years, but before that, I would kind of get like restless leg syndrome. I'm not sure if you guys ever had that, but I'm sure you have. Or I just wouldn't sleep all the way through the night. Like I would wake up and be like, oh my goodness, kind of wired, and then fall back asleep, wake up, fall back asleep. Magnesium glycinate really helped me stay asleep throughout the entire night. And if you are training hard, but you're waking up super sore and fried, either the training volume's off or magnesium could be the missing link. But it could be a multitude of things, but magnesium will definitely help you sleep better and recover better. And magnesium glycinate is better than other forms because it's highly bioavailable. So your body absorbs it very well. It's gentle on the stomach. It's bound to glycine, which has calming effects and makes it ideal for sleep recovery and reducing muscle cramps without causing any kind of diarrhea or stomach symptoms from there. Let's move on to the final one. So number 3, we have supplement number 3, yay, L-theanine. So this is actually found in green tea. And, but do you really want to drink green tea before bed? No, probably not. But L-theanine, especially, you can stack this at any time. You can take this in the morning. Sometimes I'll take this with my coffee. Or you can take it at night. I've been switching it more to at night because I like stacking all 3, because then I just pass out and I'm asleep until I need to wake up, which is fantastic. And like I said earlier, I've had some problems with that. So these are three have really helped me a lot. So what this does is it enhances alpha brain waves, so it helps you feel relaxed but alert if you do take it in the morning. Very good to stack with caffeine as well. So, and it's one of those supplements that's going to have a very mild effect. Like, I don't really feel L-theanine that much because I mean, it does kind of the CBD and the magnesium glycinate kind of take over. But if I'm going to stack something, especially because L-theanine, just like magnesium glycinate, super cheap, very easy to get off Amazon. Again, just choose one. They're all pretty much the same price and the same dosage, so nothing really crazy there. And it works synergistically with as a calming agent, along with anything else you're stacking it with, but it won't make you super drowsy. So this is a great thing, again, kind of like CBD that you could take during the day. CBD being the most expensive one, so L-theanine might be one you might want to try first if you want to take it during the day or earlier in the day, because it won't make you fall asleep. It'll just calm you down, which is very helpful in certain situations. And the last time I was laying in bed, I was able to turn my brain off. L-theanine definitely did help. I think it was more than magnesium though, but I remember I forgot to take it and I was kind of tossing and turning. I'm like, oh, I forgot to take my magnesium and my L-theanine. So I took that, and obviously within minutes I was out once it hit me. And I have used L-theanine in the morning with caffeine intake, and that kind of gives me like a kind of chill but still caffeinated feeling, which is great because I don't get too jittery, which is fantastic. Again, the effects are pretty mild, so it depends on the dosage you're doing. Out of all three of these, this is the one I feel the least though. So this is why I saved this one for the third one. It can turn off racing thoughts. It can help you transition from really help you transition from being wired mode to recovery mode. And then you definitely do get this mental quiet, especially if you do stack it with caffeine. That's usually when I find it's most effective, actually, is when I stack it with caffeine. I feel like it's kind of hard to describe, but you feel highly focused, but without like the kind of manic jitteriness is the best way I can describe it. Like a crackhead, I guess, but I digress. And you're going to want to take about 200 to 400 milligrams. I feel it more when I take more. So I think most dosages that they're at are around 200 milligrams per pill. So I take about 2 pills, about 400 milligrams. I take that at the same time as I take the CBD and the magnesium. And then sometimes I will stack this during the day. In fact, I feel it more if I take it during the day than if I take it at night. But lately I've just been taking it at night because I want to just triple up on my sleep stack. And would I recommend this more for nighttime or daytime focus? Honestly, personally, I would probably use this more during the day because it doesn't make me drowsy. It makes me kind of a good chill focus, which is nice. And like I said, it's in green tea naturally. So if you do drink green tea already, you're already getting L-theanine from that, and that's why it comes highly recommended, because it's very good for the brain. And it's instead of spiraling down to like tomorrow's to-do list, that you kind of sleep into this nice deep sleep and your brain kind of hits this do not disturb button on your brain, which is very nice. And the issue is that a lot of us, especially if you listen to this now, that you probably, have a hard time mentally shutting off. And then that crushes sleep quality and it raises stress levels. So you want to do everything you can in your power to utilize to lower that stress as much as possible. And if the 3 relatively cheap supplements can do that, why not take advantage of that? Now let's talk about stacking them together. So taken together, these create a sleep and recovery stack, and that really smooths out the descent from chaos to calm. So essentially what all 3 do in order: CBD relaxes your nervous system, magnesium helps let your body go, and L-theanine turns off the brain loops. And how long did it take for me to see results while stacking them? I saw results immediately. Now, a lot of times, from what I have read, that it takes about 3 to 5 days to feel the effects of CBD, especially for recovery. I felt it almost instantly. So I went 4 weeks without CBD. And then I realized I didn't have any, I didn't realize, but I got to get some. And so once I got it, immediately when I got the package, I opened it up and I took a dose, and it was during the day. And within like an hour, I felt so much better. I felt so much more myself, felt way more chill, like things weren't getting to me. I wasn't hypersensitive to anything. I wasn't moody. And I was like, oh, this is nice. This is what I needed. And so for you, it might be totally different. You might not even feel it at all. And the only way to find out is to try. I know plenty of people who've tried the same CBD as me. They don't feel anything, doesn't help them at all. They don't use it, and they're fine with their sleep. Me, personally, it helps. So again, that's why I'm giving you this information. And then magnesium glycinate instant, L-theanine being the most mild. And then what feedback have I gotten from members or staff who've tried this? Well, they sleep a lot better too. Again, like there's still the outliers out there who they don't feel anything. Caitlin actually being one of those. She'll take stuff and doesn't feel anything. I'm just like, okay, good for you. you are the outlier and you don't need any of this stuff, which is nice because it makes it a lot cheaper. But if you put in the work and you eat the food, but you're not sleeping, you're just wasting potential. So maximize your potential. Sleep and recovery and managing your stress load is the most important thing you can do in order to make better gains. And a lot of times stress management is actually the hardest thing. So a lot of us are pretty good about getting their training in. A lot of us can get our nutrition dialed in. Those are two things that are relatively easy to control, nutrition being a little bit harder. A lot of us can make the time to sleep a little bit more. But me personally, the hardest thing for me is stress management. I know a lot of times we talk about that. And a lot of times you don't have a lot of control over that because we're adults and we have jobs, we have careers, we have kids, we have things that need to get done. Our to-dos lists are long. So at the end of the day, we have to do everything we can to maximize what we can do with managing that stress. And a lot of time, the only option we really have is supplement or removing the stress completely, which is not possible. So stacking the three will definitely help. And just give it 2 weeks before you make any changes. Start with play around with the doses. Again, talk to your physician. And remember, supplements are there to amplify the fundamentals. You still have to have everything else dialed in. Your nutrition. Make sure that you're still going to bed a decent hour, regardless if you're taking them or not. And also make sure you're training at least 5 to 7 days a week. And then if you're curious about, a real recovery routine, feel free to shoot me a DM and I can actually send you links to all the stuff that I have that I use. Again, it's very easy to search. I'll put it in the description, in the notes as well, so you guys don't have to DM me. You can just look in the notes as well. And I really hope this was helpful, and good luck, have fun, and I'll see you next time.